Okay, so this project is almost finishing up an outdoor Jenga set, and I am working on the second set of dice. And for those of you who will be like, oh, Jenga doesn't take dice, you can use some dice on the outdoor version or the indoor version. Uh, and it sometimes it makes the skill level either harder or easier depending on the way you want to look at it. So when you use the dice, especially with an outdoor set, it's going to give you a certain amount of moves. Now, you're going to be able to do, say, 6 moves instead of 1 or 2 or whatever, right? Or you can kind of change rules up a little bit and make it however you guys want it. And so this is going to be teenagers playing with it. I am using a wood burning kit. I can't concentrate and talk, I guess, at the same time. I'm a hot mess today. I am finishing up projects for Christmas gifts. And so that is what I'm doing right now. And I've actually not used this ever before. Ed used it the first time. This is our second set that we made. I made one set for the other daughter. Someone asked me if I was going to make a bunch of these to sell, and my answer to that would probably be no. It is actually a lot more work, and the final video, I'll show you guys. I can stack them up, show you what it looks like all stacked up, and kind of give you what I learned from the project doing the first set and what I did differently on the second set, as well as give you dimensions and all that fun stuff. Now, Kelly had wanted hers, she wanted hers stained, so I stained hers. And Heather wanted hers painted. I'll show you those as well. But I still need to make we're also making a box, so these, when they're not in use out in the yard, you can store them. And see, some of this is that top corner one right here. Every now and then I run across one that I just kind of got to turn the tool, hold it a little differently, and push a little bit different on it. I did sand these big blocks, but they obviously still, because of the type of wood, they still have a little bit of a mind of its own. And it's not operator error, right? So I did decide to use the wood burning kit on these. And the reason I did was I didn't want them, if the teenagers leave these sitting out, I didn't want to worry about the dice and see that one as well. So I just have to kind of hold it a little different. I'm almost done. We're in the home stretch. So I didn't want to have to worry about, if they left this sitting out, is the paint, if I painted the numbers on, is the paint going to wear off? And all of that other stuff that can come, of course, if they're skipping it across rocks or uneven spots or whatever, would the paint just get wore off, and then it would do them no good. And just trying not to make it to where somebody has to go find a magic marker and write all over it. And then you have dice that doesn't even have numbers on them. So we did decide to go ahead and use a wood burning kit. And this one has the nice flat spot on it. And so this one honestly made perfect sense to use for the dice. Now, depending on how you do this, you could make the game harder or easier. If you decide to use the dice, you might make the game go a little faster. Some say, oh, you make it easier to win. My personal opinion is, if the teenagers decide to do the second other set of instructions that they could use, you might make the game just a little harder, because the more chances you get, the more chances that you're going to be able to tumble this over. Now, I'm going to make a box. Everything's going to fit nice and snug inside the box. I made extra pieces. I made an extra dice. The one that I'm working on here is the extra dice that I've made. And the only reason I made a few extra pieces to the outdoor Jenga game is if a pet or a small child accidentally walks away with the piece, you can't find all your pieces. That way you have a few extra pieces. You know, the kids might maybe lose one. You just never know. Okay, what are we missing? I think I'm missing my number 3. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. Yep, number 3. And honestly, it smells really good. I sanded these lightly. I did kind of try to not blunt the corners a little bit. The kids that'll be playing with this set are going to be teenagers, and so I wasn't too worried, but I mean, if they throw it and hit somebody, obviously it's going to hurt. I'd never used this before. Ed used it the first time, and I really wanted to be able to play with it, and he's at work right now. I have a couple Christmas things that I'm trying to finish up, some projects that I've been doing. Oh, baby. Husky's coming over and scratching on my leg. Hi! What are you doing? What are you doing? Mommy's got her hands full, or I would turn the camera on you. And see, that's the only thing I'm running in with is this one here. I'll have to just kind of push a little different. So you could go ahead and paint the numbers on. All the paint that I used on the other ones, because I did not use pressure treated lumber for the actual Jenga pieces. That's much better. I decided we had this, and so it made perfect sense to use it and cut it for a dice. I did not use pressure treated lumber, but I did use outdoor paint. When Heather told me she wanted to have it painted, I did use some outdoor paint. Kind of had to mix them. She's more into like a Tiffany teal. So when she asked for green, I know she didn't mean the green that I actually had. So I don't know if I should make that one bigger or don't worry about it. It's pretty big. This one had a big imperfection on it, but honestly, instead of worrying about wasting that piece that I'd already cut for what they're going to be using this for, I felt like it was fine. So let me unplug this and I'll be right back. Okay, so this one did have an imperfection in it, but this one's going to be a spare dice, so I honestly decided, nah, go ahead and use it, it's fine. Not that I wasn't wanting it to be pretty, because it is technically a gift, but it is for teenagers, and that just gives it character for people who will pick this up and say, you know, oh, it's wood. So what I did was I actually took an actual real dice and spun it around and tried to make it so when you flip my dice, it hopefully will look the same. Some of these I made a little bit bigger, some I did not. That's not perfect, but I'm not perfect. So the outdoor Jenga game, I'll show you the pieces real quick, and then when I finish the box, I'm gonna make a video on doing and making the box. But in fact, I hopefully will do the box tonight, and then I will go ahead and maybe just set the whole thing up, and the thumbnail can be, and part of the video can be maybe the whole thing set up. You can set everything up using the box, or you could not use the box and set it flat on the ground. If you do the ground, it would probably make it a little bit more challenging, but if you set it all up on a box, it doesn't really matter. It'll be challenging either way, right? So what I decided to do was I used this. This is pressure treated, but it was perfect kind of size for a dice. So we just kind of decided on a nice size. Decided instead of painting that I would use the wood burning tool, and I really, that's bugging me, but you know, it's not, it doesn't have to be perfect when it's going to be out for outside. And they're going to be rolling it and everything else. Now, painting it, the only thing I worried about, even with outdoor paint, was if it's left out, was it going to go ahead and wear off eventually? So at least with the wood burning, it's in the wood, and unless they go to sand it, it should be fine. If not, it's easier to go ahead and just get this tool back out and hit it back up again. I made a second dice just in case the first one walks away. And that way, they'll have something to use. I did make a few extra Jenga pieces as well. So that is how I decided to make these dice. And I hope this helps give you maybe an idea. You could do this for Easter, for some loved ones or for your family. Something fun that you guys could do. And here is, Heather chose blue and green. I had a dark green, so I mixed it with some white outdoor fence paint. And then I had a dark blue, but I mixed it with that same outdoor fence paint to cut the color and make them more light. Now, it is outdoor paint, but eventually with these being knocked around and everything else, the paint will start to come off. If that happens, we'll probably want to repaint them somehow, just because these are not pressure treated lumber. I didn't want the heaviness of the pressure treated, but I did sand these. When I go to make the box, I will link that video on this one in the description and possibly try to make a card for it. I don't always get on my laptop to make these cards actually at the top of the videos like you guys see. But I will definitely link the whole series together when I get the box done. I'm going to go ahead and jump off here. That is how you use a wood burning kit. Easy peasy, ladies. You guys can do it. And these just screw on and off. I'll do a separate video on these. Have a great one. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.